So happy to have you guys here. My name is Danette Goodyear, if we haven't gotten to meet yet. And I want to welcome you to the September 2019 class, our very last class for our monthly classes in almost 10 years. So there are some people like, this is their first class. I'm going to ask you that later, because you might get something. But actually, let's just do that now. Who is here for the very first time? Oh my gosh, I love that! Welcome! Yes, okay. Yes, I'm going to do that. Yep. Thank you. Can you raise your hands again? And Mr. Greg Goodrich is going to give you something cool. Some diffusers, some cool pins. We're happy to have you guys. Yes, I hosted these classes in Plano for years because it needed to be close to my clinic, my office, so I could stop seeing clients at 5 and brush my teeth and throw down a rice cake or something and drive to, well, first of all, it was in an empty office suite in my office building. And it was a bring your own chair. It was a BYOC. And Jim just told me tonight they had a men's event on Saturday. And Jim Bob Haggerton, are you here yet? Jim Bob here yet? Woo! I knew I'd hear you. I just didn't know where you were yet. And he said, Matt, did you actually order chairs, or you were going to bring chairs, or? Yeah. I ordered the chairs, and they were about to deliver them, and got mad that I canceled. And so he was like, that would be really weak to have people bring their own chairs. And Jim said, Danette did for years. So that's called duplication, my friend. So we did that because that empty suite wasn't mine, but they let us use it for free. I wanted it to be as duplicable as possible, to not have to charge anything. So we had camp chairs, and we started with 15, 20 people, and then we kind of went out into the other part of the suite, 50, and then we went into Plano libraries until they called me one day after a couple of years and said, you're not welcome here anymore. And I'm like, what? So, because I didn't know you couldn't sell books at a library. Who knew? So, clearly I didn't read the fine print. But all of those things, God just was preparing us for bigger and better things. Every time a door closed, much better one opened. So we went to the South Fork Hotel on 75 because I could squeal in there and unload all the sound equipment and be ready to talk at 6:30. And that's when we started bringing some of our great leaders on to help teach, because I used to teach. And it wasn't, this is when we were teaching cancer and frankincense and allergies and, all the good old stuff. And I did not do slides. I didn't do computers. I stood up there with paper, and I still teach 101s like this today, because you do not need a projector and to know how to use PowerPoint and everything to tell people about oils, right? So we do it now and have a microphone and stuff so y'all can hear in a room, but you don't have to do that. It's really just about sharing. So we're just thrilled to have you guys here tonight. So who was there in the office building bringing your own chair? I love it. Greg Goodrich. One of our great members in Virginia made these cool keychains with Young Living actual ribbon. We have Young Living ribbon, whatever. Super cool. And don't you love that? Tell me if you run out of stuff. So anyway, if you get thrown out of somewhere for selling an oily book that a great friend of yours wrote, just know that you're in good company and good things are going to come for you guys. So we are just now creating space for different things to happen, right? This is when other leaders step up to different things. So I am totally excited to see what's going to be happening in our community, right? Communities change. When we started all this, I was looking back at some notes, and it was 2004 that we started. I started inviting people to stuff in 2004, right? So 15 years ago, and there wasn't Facebook, and I certainly wasn't on it. And because I was diamond before I was on Facebook. So all that to say, we're not going anywhere. There's some great teaching online, right? In the Splash group, if you're in the Splash YL Lifestyle group, we certainly do a lot of that. We teach online on Zoom classes, and I know we have many different uplines in this room that will lead you down the right path and some good things. So we're excited to see where God's leading all of this. So not an end, but a new beginning here tonight. So thank you guys. But I wanted to abundantly thank Gary McClure, who has been our videographer. Yeah. So Gary not only films, but then he goes home and edits everything, puts in the slides for y'all, cuts out things that I say that are dumb. And so we're super thankful. And then he uploads it all night long to YouTube so you guys can see it, right? And people who are not in the area can see it. So we're super grateful for you. And to Jim Goodyear, for the last 5 years, he's been schlepping all the sound equipment that I used to have to schlep in and out of the garage to work, to the hotel, back into the car and everything. Now he does that, except the last 2 months, of course. So super thankful. And all of you guys that have come to learn and to speak, we have, who has spoken at one of our monthly classes? There are many in this room. I love that. Thank you guys so much. And all y'all get to, glean from their experiences and their wisdom. And I just really appreciate that from all of you. So thank you. I'm going to pass around a new bottle of abundance oil. I want everybody to take a drop, put it in your hand, rub it 3 times, temp that over your nose, and a couple, 2, 3, 18 big inhales, and we're going to get started. Is that true? I'm going to ask if you want to shut off anything that might embarrass you. That would be my phone over there, too. Can you shut that? So that would be good. So let me start with the abundance. Let's start with the speaker and her husband, shall we? But tonight I am thrilled to bring you great Young Living Silver leader Amanda Ames. Great topic to conclude our times together, I thought, in this format, and the perfect person to do this. Amanda is a professor at Collin College. Like, you're going to walk away from this going, I would have done anything to have a class like this in college that is not just one time. So if you have kids at Collin College, like, make it a requirement that they take Amanda's class, I would say. But this is where she has used neuroplasticity principles to change the paths of countless students and allow them to focus on building lives of significance, right? How great is that? So tonight she'll dig into that, as well as bring in the great accentuators, shall I say, of Young Living essential oils into it, right? Because that makes it not only better, but faster and all the things. Then in our second section of the class, Amanda's going to lead us in learning how to use specific actions and gratitude to achieve our goals while cultivating a great community around us, right? So let's get on with our evening education tonight with the great mindset mentor, Amanda Ames.
Thank you. Oh my word. I think I'm going to like this mic. I kind of want to have one at work. Guys, we need a standing ovation for Danette. Seriously. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo! You guys, seriously. I remember the first class I went to. Am I too loud? No? Okay. First class I went to in Plano, and it was all on sleep and emotions and art. Is it good? Okay, I'll stop touching it. And it was amazing. It completely changed my thought process on how I treat my body and how I viewed emotions and how I took care of myself. And so I am incredibly grateful for this opportunity. This is my passion. I feel like this is my purpose in life, is to empower and inspire students to go after big dreams and to create a life of significance. And so I am just incredibly grateful that you're giving me this platform to do it. I have a lot of slides and I have a lot of notes, and I don't want you guys to panic. A lot of them also have a lot of statistics and words on them, but I'm going to upload all of them to the Goodyear for Health class, and I will make sure you have access to it. So if you're in the back and you're like, I can't see that far, and you're trying to get your camera up and you can't zoom in far enough, don't panic, because everything will be online for you tomorrow. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. I'm going to try not to trip. I walk, and I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands. I want to tell you guys a little bit about me before I get started. So I have been at Collin for the last 5 years. Before that, I was at O'Banion Middle School, and I taught 7th and 8th grade English and reading. Where are my teachers? Yes, yes. The absolute greatest opportunity to touch lives and change the future is teaching. And so I did my undergrad in psychology and sociology, and then my master's in educational theory and practice. So I love that Mindset gives me the opportunity to merge both of those. I am married to this handsome guy on the front row. He is a pilot. We have both worked really hard and really intentionally to get our dream jobs. And so that was in January for his birthday. I surprised him, and he worked that day. And so I flew all over with him, and then we ended up in D.C. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So he is my high school sweetheart. We celebrated 10 years of marriage this July, 17 years together, so I've officially loved him half my life. I'm not going to. So we have 4 precious babies in heaven waiting for us, and everything I do today, I have done myself. So what I'm teaching you guys, I tell my students and I tell my team, I will never ask you to do something I'm not willing to do. So everything in here I have done and I do on a daily basis, because when things happen and your life doesn't look like you thought it would, it's pretty rough. I'm assuming most of you have been in that boat where you're like, I didn't think things would look like this. And so 5.5 years ago, when we had our first miscarriage, I intentionally started practicing all of this because I knew there had to be a different way. And there had to be something more. And so this guy, who is the most photogenic, is our sweet Mac. Next month, we celebrate 2 years with him since we adopted him, and he is the oily pup. He is spoiled rotten. And if you guys want to see all the pictures, you can follow me on Instagram, because he is our little celebrity. It's fantastic. Okay. Disclaimer. You guys know all of this. I told you, I'm an educator. I am not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, fix anything. You need to take this information and figure out what you are going to do with it. It's my whole goal for tonight. I prayed really hard, and I'll tell you guys, this presentation has changed about 50 times because there's so much to talk about. Please have grace with me, because this is a 16-week course, and I had to try and narrow it down and say, okay, what can I give them in 2 hours? So we are scratching the surface. When we do this in class, we go really deep, really quick, and then we take it through all semester. So just have grace with me. Things have changed. I have practiced a lot with Greg, and he said, a lot of your stories, they change every time. They're all good, but they change. I was like, well, that's 11 years of teaching, because you guys know I have an endless supply of stories and examples. So he's like, there's really no telling what you're going to say tonight. And I was like, I know. The next thing is, you might want to grab an emotionally uplifting oil. If you guys have something, now's a great time to get it. I don't sugarcoat things. If you know anything about the color personalities, I'm very red. So I'm intense. Yeah, my fellow red. Intense, but I do it with love, because I know there are better opportunities out there, and I know when you change your mindset, you change your life. And so I want to equip you guys with these tools so you can go out and take action on your life. Everything I give you is to add value so you can go out and do something with it. I added this in. This is what I came up with for me personally. I was like, when my students leave my classroom at the end of the semester, what do I want them to know? Not just the educational part, but as people, what do I want them to know? And these are the 4 that I feel like I have done my job when they leave at the end. So just replace students with you. So empowering you to take action on your big dreams, equipping you with the tools to cultivate a positive mindset, creating community and nurturing connection through authentic storytelling, and developing student leaders who passionately pursue their purpose. So what I ask of you guys in this presentation is keep an open mind. I know some of this is new, and I know it's tough. Like I said, I don't sugarcoat it. It's hard because you have to make changes. But I want you to go into it with that open mind of, okay, there's a reason for this. So if you have, I see some of you have journals. My teacher heart is so happy right now. If you have journals, I would get them out and take notes. If you find yourself when I say something that you start to bristle and you're like, oh no, she did not just tell me that, write it down. I hear this often, so this is how I know from kids. But write it down and let's talk about it later and let's explore that. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging after this because there's a reason. There is a reason this is bothering you. There's a reason it's starting to kind of tug at your heart and you're like, that's not true. I don't like that. Let's figure out why. I tell my kids, Greg laughs at me because I talk about peeling back the onion and we get to the root. But here's the thing. We have a serious problem today with treating symptoms across the board. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. We are putting Band-Aids on things when we need to be getting at the root. What is causing this and why and how can we fix it? And so that is why we dig deep. We journal every day in class and we get to the root of why are you feeling this way and what are we going to do about it? And so that's what I'm hoping to plant those seeds for you tonight so you guys can start taking action on that. So for a transformation, you guys are going to get a lot of information tonight. Like I said, I think there's like 50 slides. Don't panic. I'm all to you. It's a lot of information, but I want it to inspire you to take action. It's not enough to have it in your brain. I tell my students all the time, you guys can fist bump me, you can shake your head yes, you can be like, yeah, this is spot on. But if you walk out of this room the same person, it has not done anything because it's useless if it just stays in your brain. You have to take action and do something with it. Go out there and have a transformation. So that's what I want for you guys today. That it hurts enough, you feel like you've had a gut punch because growth requires change and change begins with awareness. You need to have that gut punch of, okay, something is wrong because that's how you know you need to fix it. And when it does get hard, and I really struggle with whether or not to say this because I do not like sounding conceited, so please do not take it that way. But I just want you to know how important the topic is. So my classes, I have an extremely low withdrawal rate. They always fill up and they're waitlisted every semester. And I do not say that to brag, but I tell you that this is a wanted topic. Students today want this information and they want the truth. And your friends want it too, guys. Your family member, your kids, they're not too young. They want this. And my students are, when I say that, they're 17 to 70. I also teach dual credit, so I'm at the high school now. That's a treat, very different. But I will tell you that you cannot let age get in the way. Telling your kids they're too young to do something or to change their mindset is not true. And the same thing with getting set in your ways and acting like, well, I'm too old, it's not worth it. It is. One of the biggest emotional breakthroughs we had in class was from a grandmother of 5. And it was powerful. So, again, keep an open mind. All right, here's our outline. So my husband's green. All of you who like outlines can thank him because I was just going to go for it. I was like, we're just charging on ahead. And Greg goes, oh no, you need to let people know this is what's happening. This is what we're talking about. And you see, he was like, write that down. So part 1, we're going to talk about why mindset is so important, how you can begin. I'm so sorry, I have to start my timer. So I don't ever talk. How you can begin practicing neuroplasticity now. And I'll tell you, one of the things that irritates me is when you go somewhere and they tell you all the things that are wrong, and then they're like, okay, good luck and Godspeed, like, figure it out. So I want to give you guys things you can do now. We're going to do some of it together tonight, and then it's things you can take home and do tonight and tomorrow morning. Do it right away. Don't put it on the back burner of, I'm going to do this next week, because your brain perceives that as later, and it'll probably never happen. So we're going to talk about positive self-talk and creator versus victim mindset. So these are the 2 strategies we're going to focus on. These are 2, to me, I think they're very foundational. You have to start with this. The other stuff comes later. But you must change your mind with self-talk, and then you've got to get out of this victim mentality. And then in part 2, we're going to talk about how to align your values and actions to reach your goals and conscious language. So even if you don't feel like you're a business builder and you're like, you know what, I don't really consider myself that. I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't want to stay. I encourage you to because it's applicable information for life. I'm assuming all of you are working on goals, and values is the foundation of that. You have to know what you believe and why. And the same with conscious language. You talk to yourself more than anyone else. You need to be intentional about what you're saying. So, Dr. Shad Helmstetter. Has anyone heard of him in here? No? Nice. Okay, this is exciting. So he is my favorite. I want to meet him one day and have all of my books signed. I think it would be one of the few times I'm speechless if I could actually get in the same room as him. But he has done everything, just groundbreaking work with neuroplasticity and self-talk. Anything you can get your hands on of his, do it. All the books are fantastic. They're all on Amazon. They're worth it. But he said, you are creating at this moment the person you're going to become tomorrow, and you are physically wiring that person into your brain. The principles we talk about today, they're success principles for a reason. They're timeless. They don't change. They have been around since the beginning of time. It looks different every generation. We have different buzzwords. We have different ways we execute it, but the principles themselves do not change. And I love so much how this corresponds with Romans 12:2 and talking about renewing your mind and transforming, and you are called to be different. We are to be in the world, not of the world. And so we're going to talk about being countercultural and doing things that seem weird at first, but this is how you become a world changer. Okay, so here's where the information starts. It's a lot. Bear with me. I'm going to read most of it, but you guys will have it tomorrow. So Dr. Carolyn Leaf, anyone heard of her? Yes, awesome. Okay, she is one of my favorites because she beautifully merges scripture and science together. And so she gives scripture to back up scientific research, and she does it in a way that is very easy to understand, and she's one of my favorite people to read. So she said, our choices, the natural consequences of our thoughts and imagination, get under the skin of our DNA and can turn certain genes on and off, changing the structure of the neurons in our brain. So our thoughts, imagination, and choices can change the structure and function of our brains on every level: molecular, genetic, epigenetic, cellular, structural, neurochemical, electromagnetic, and even subatomic. The scientific power of our mind to change the brain is called epigenetics. And spiritually, it is as a man thinks, so he is. The way the brain changes as a result of mental activity is scientifically called neuroplasticity. Spiritually, it is the renewing of the mind. You are changing your brain every day. We need to be intentional with how we're changing it. Epigenetics is referred to as a new science, but actually it is an ancient science that we find throughout the Bible. At its most basic level, epigenetics is the fact that your thoughts and choices impact your physical brain and body, your mental health, and your spiritual development. Research shows that DNA actually changes shape according to our thoughts. That is crazy. What's incredible is that genes are dormant until switched on by a signal. They have potential, but they have to be activated to release that potential. One of the other things scientists are figuring out, which again, it's not new, go read the Old Testament, but your thoughts are imprinting up to 4 generations on your reproductive DNA. So that means your kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and great-great-grandkids you'll never meet are being imprinted with what you're thinking about. If that's not reason to change, I don't know what is. We're talking about entire generations. Do you want them having your fear-based patterns, things that are holding you back? Do you want your kids and grandkids dealing with that? Of course not. That's worth changing right there. This was the part that just blew my mind when it talks about flipping the switch, that things have potential, good or bad, but we turn the switch on. So you think about people who say, everyone in my family has heart disease after 45. That's just what happens. Liz James talked about this last month. If you guys are here, her class was phenomenal. And it activates that switch because you believe that it will happen to you at 45. So you're bracing yourself. You hit 40 and you're like, 5 more years. Like a little bit more time before I'm having to pop all the pills. Things with heart disease. Well, everyone in my family has it. Everyone gets breast cancer. This is just what happens. You tell yourself that enough and your brain believes it and it will work to make it happen. We have to change our thought patterns. So this one, I'll let you guys read it tomorrow. I want to just pick out a few parts. She talks about choices are real. You are free to make choices about how you focus your attention, and this affects how the chemicals and wiring of your brain change and function. Moment by moment, each day, you can choose who you will be in the next moment. And these choices are captured in the resultant thought networks you build. This is the essence of neuroplasticity. That if you are not satisfied with where you are, if you came in today and you're like, I don't like how things are going, you can reprogram your brain. You can reframe your thoughts, and you can change things on a cellular level. She talks about how, I'm just going to read a few of these. Following illnesses are generated by toxic thoughts: diabetes, cancer, asthma, skin problems, and allergies, just to name a few. And medical research increasingly points to the fact that thinking and consciously controlling your thought life is one of the best ways, if not the best way, to detox your brain. This information is out there. It's not being talked about as much as it should be, but it is out there. 75 to 95% of the illnesses that plague us today are a direct result of our thought life. And I'm not good at math, but that's almost all of them. Okay? What we think about affects us physically, emotionally, mentally. The average person has over 30,000 thoughts a day. Through an uncontrolled thought life, we create the conditions for illness. We make ourselves sick. Research shows that fear, all on its own, triggers more than 1,400 known physical and chemical responses and activates more than 30 different hormones. Psychologists and psychoanalysts tend to agree that we're born with two innate fears: fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That means every other fear is what? What's Nate? Learned. Yes. So if it's learned, it can be what? Unlearned. Yes, you can change that habit. Guys, fear is a choice, and we can choose to not do it. It's hard. The stuff I'm telling you tonight, I'm not going to stand up here and act like it's easy and you're just going to change it overnight, because it's not. This is the hardest thing, personal growth, that I have ever done. But I'm telling you, it was 100% worth it, time and time again. And I have the absolute honor of watching students walk out of class completely transformed and taking ownership of their life and changing their decisions because they've learned how to manage their mindset. It's amazing. So again, the 75 to 95% of mental and physical illnesses come from our thought life. I've linked the studies. You guys can have that tomorrow as well. So this is staggering because it means that only 2 to 25% of human mental and physical illnesses come from the environment and genes. It's just nuts. So I'm going to do just a few statistics here because these are from some big names you guys will recognize. So a study by the American Medical Association found that stress is a factor in 75% of all illnesses and diseases that people suffer from today. The association between stress and disease is a colossal 85%. The International Agency for Research in Cancer and the World Health Organization has concluded that 80% of cancers are due to lifestyles and not genetics. And they say this is a conservative number. According to the American Institute of Health, it has been estimated that 75 to 90% of all visits to primary care physicians are for stress-related problems. An undisciplined mind is one filled with continuous stream of thoughts, worries, fears, and distorted perceptions, all of which trigger degenerative processes of the body and mind. Guys, we are thinking ourselves sick. Your body was created to function in vibrancy, to be healthy. We are thinking ourselves sick, and we are making terrible choices. And the really sad part is we are lying to ourselves that our choices don't matter. And the things we do don't have an effect, and they do. This is why it is so important to learn this. So this study, I love this. Dr. Emoto is a Japanese scientist who has done experiments with the spoken word, the written word, and thoughts using water and ice crystals. His experiments really show the power of language. He did experiments by praying over and speaking words over glasses of water, following which he froze the water and looked at the crystals under the microscope. The crystals of water over which he had prayed or spoken wonderful words were beautiful crystals, but the ones that had harsh words spoken over them were ugly, muddy-looking, or had confused-looking crystal patterns. Since your body is over 70% water, what is happening to the water in your cells as a result of your words, thoughts, or emotions? I think about the story with Gary and being in the field and not having people argue or have negativity around the plants because it affects their growth. If that's happening in nature, guys, it's happening to you. What is happening when you're arguing around your children? Their brains are still forming. They're imprinting this information. 70% water. I mean, I know I don't want muddy, confused, ugly-looking crystals growing if I have a choice. It is here that we discover the problem that has held back generations of individuals from reaching their greatness. And this chokes me up every time. We have become what we were programmed to believe instead of what we could have become. And this is hard. And I see this all the time in class, and it breaks my heart. And it goes back to think about the arguing around your kids and imprinting that on their brain. They are becoming what they are programmed to become instead of reaching their potential. Dr. Helmstetter did a study and said in homes where it's considered mostly positive, 77% of the imprinting is negative. And think about that in terms, it's a lot of fear-based patterns versus fostering creativity. Things with, no, don't do that, you'll get hurt. Be careful. You're too young, you're too small, you're too this. We're instilling that. I'm not saying those things aren't necessary and there's a time and place, but we are imprinting fear-based patterns. And it's hard work to instill positive, but it is a lot easier than trying to fix broken adults later. And I see it firsthand. And this blows my mind, how many students come in every semester and it's like they have the freedom to be themselves and they have the freedom to change their behavior and chase their dreams. And a lot of them are like, I've never been told that before. And people just assume I'm in a rough area, and I do have students from a tough home life, but guys, I get a lot of kids from McKinney, Allen, and Frisco, 2-parent homes. And it's hard. And they're like, I've just never had anyone tell me I can do it, that they believe in me. You're not going to tell your kids that too much. That you love them, you're proud of them, and that they can do it. You've got to change the programming. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. And this goes back a lot with the self-fulfilling prophecy. Again, your brain will believe what you tell it. And you see this a lot with students who say things like, everyone told me I would be a pregnant dropout, and I was. A lot of my kids come back later. They're in their 30s now, and they're like, I decided to do this for me because I'm changing. I'm having that paradigm shift. Or the student who is, I've always been told I was bad and would end up going to prison. And guys, it happens because your brain does not care what you plant. It will return it in abundance. So you need to be really intentional with what you're putting in there. So we're going to do a short video on neuroplasticity to explain it. I love this one. It really shows it as your brain, almost like a highway and the pathways and how you're having to strengthen them. Because again, think about when you're walking in the woods, the first time you walk down a path, it's still overgrown. Second time you do it, third time. But after you do it consistently and repeatedly, you are breaking down those obstacles, and it becomes a path that you can just travel without thinking about it. This is what we want to do in our brain.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
Okay, so we get to choose our neural pathways. And with repeated and directed attention, you can rewire your brain. And to me, this is the most fascinating thing we've learned, because for the longest time, like she said, they thought that was only for brain trauma or something negative had to happen to you for you to have that type of control. And now we're learning anyone and everyone can change their brain at any point. You just make the decision to do it. Better talks a lot about self-talk. And this was eye-opening to me about self-talk versus affirmations, because most people use them interchangeably, myself included for a while. And he said that they're used synonymously, but they're really not the same. Affirmations are a positive statement. A lot of times it's more of that holistic, I am one with the universe. And they tend to be a lot shorter. There's a time and place for both. So I will say when we do affirmations in class, I tell students, start with the things you struggle with. So, like for me, my number one that was really hard for me to learn how to say to myself is, I am worthy. And I know that sounds silly, that's really short, but it took me a long time to be able to say that out loud and actually believe it. And so I tell them, you pick what you're struggling with. I am strong, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am capable. Pick what you struggle with and then turn it into an affirmation and say it every day. And we practice doing this. They do it in the mirror, and I'm like, it's only weird the first few times. So when you guys start doing this, it's only weird the first few times. Everything I have them go do, I'm like, it's only odd in the beginning, and then it just becomes a habit. So self-talk is more of what we're going to focus on today, because self-talk is very specific. It is very clear, it is direct, and it is to the point. Your brain is the greatest supercomputer ever created. You tell it what to do. You don't affirm it, you give it direction. Because this is how you're building your life. This is the action you're taking. So I'll use an airplane analogy for Greg. I'll probably butcher it. He's going to look at me and be like, Amanda. But you think about your pilot flying your airplane. You don't want them affirming it. Like, you are the shiniest metal ever. You are the biggest airplane out there. Like, you are just so lovely, the best engine. Like, you don't want your pilot affirming it. You want them to give it directions. This is our course and heading. This is, I'm assuming you want to go to a specific destination. Like, here's where we're landing. This is how high we're flying, how fast we're going. And you give it directions. The same thing with your brain. You tell it what to do. And you do it in the present. Okay? The future tense, when you say, I will do something, I will do it later, your brain does not sense any urgency. And later often becomes never. So you need to be very clear and very direct with your brain. And some of the examples he gives, I get things done. I take action. I set clear, specific goals. I get up at 6:15 each morning. The thing is, negative self-talk has become so commonplace, most of us don't realize we're doing it. So saying things like, I just can't get up on time. Anyone else say things like that? Guys, that's negative self-talk. Because if you're telling yourself that every morning, your brain gets to the point, it's like, you're right, you can't hit that snooze button one more time. Lay down a little longer. Your brain will believe what you tell it. So you need to give it clear directions. If that's what you're struggling with, tell it what to do. And this will change. My self-talk has changed over the years. It changes based on my season in life. I'll tell you, I have some pretty consistent ones. So the 4 I do every day. I did it today in the bathroom because I have Valor right here. And I do this all the time. Greg was like, why is this a big deal to you? This is what you do for a living. And I'm like, but it's different. Like, it's different being up here with everyone. So I say I add value to people every day. I look for and create opportunities. I choose joy and gratitude in spite of my circumstances. And I am walking in my purpose. So it's in present tense. And I tell my brain that to where it believes it. And guys, it's crazy. It does not take long before it imprints so strongly that I do find myself looking for opportunities that I would have missed in the past. And when we attach it to an oil, we're going to talk about that in a second, it is so much more powerful. It makes everything a smoother experience. And scent is so heavily tied to memory. So get your oils out, have them, use them, keep them on you. Oh, let me do I am statements. So the other thing I read a lot about, again, with doing present tense, is when you're saying I am, you're giving that direction to your brain. So when it's negative, when you say things like I am fat, I am tired, I am poor, and you say it over and over and over, your brain says yes. Like, this is great. Yes, yes. I am fat, we'll make more fat. I am poor, let's stay poor. I am tired, let's just stay tired. Go get back in bed. And I did this the other day, so my schedule is crazy this semester now that I have dual credit. And I was yawning, and I was like, you know what? I am tired. And guys, I caught myself. Like, I had a self-talk intervention right there. And so I caught myself saying, like, I am tired. And I was like, no, you aren't. You are vibrant, and you are alert, and you are awake. And I'm like sitting here like this. And I kept saying it over and over. And it got to the point, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Because your brain will believe it. You have to keep telling it that. And Earl Nightingale, has anyone read or listened to The Strangest Secret? No one? I have 2 to give away. I'm so excited. This is one Greg and I listened to when he was working hard for his job right now, and I was working on some big outside projects. We listened to this every single day. It's about 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes. Well worth it. Find it on YouTube. It's free. Listen to it while I'm driving. First thing in the morning, start your day with something positive and not the negativity of scrolling your phone. Oh, sorry. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. I recommend listening to it because he has a beautiful speaking voice. And it's from the 1950s. Other than a few just differences in language with things that were relevant in the time, it could have been recorded in 2019. Because timeless success principles don't change. When you practice them consistently, you will notice positive differences. And so he relates your brain as the most fertile soil ever known. And he said, the key is your brain doesn't care what you plant. It will return in abundance whatever you put. So if it's negative and toxic and terrible, that's what it will return to you tenfold. Because it does not discriminate. It's why we fall back into old habits and patterns. And I've had students, I had one, and she was in my class last semester and had gotten out of an abusive relationship. And she said, because I knew what to expect. I knew how much it would hurt. I knew what to expect after. And even though I knew it was wrong and I knew it was painful, at least I knew what was coming. And it took her going through a lot. She had done that before she got to class, but she said, this is exactly what I needed in my life because this is where I'm at. And I know I have to change things, and it's really hard. And this is why you need a strong support system when you're doing this. So he goes on to talk about good self-talk messages are instructions. Again, you are in control and not your brain. We love to think, well, you know, whatever happens, happens. Like, my brain just made this choice. One of my guys last semester, my favorite thing, he was like, you know, Miss Ames, he goes, I can't always control what pops into my head, but I always have a choice how long it stays there. And he goes, so maybe it pops in and it's bad, and I don't like it, and I can kick it out pretty quick. And I think about him every day. When stuff pops in my head that's negative, I'm like, you get a choice, Amanda. How long is it going to stay in there? So, positive self-talk. It's mindful. It's focused. It's intentional. And we have learned that your conscious intention to do something increases your brain's ability to wire new ideas. This is the most energetic level of healthy self-direction we use. Everything we think, feel, or do imprints or rewires our brain. Our rewired brain affects everything we think, feel, or do, which again, imprints, rewires our brain. Okay? 90% or more of what we're doing is subconscious, guys. We're not even aware of it. Again, these are things that have been imprinted since childhood. Think about the first time you were told you couldn't do something, the first time that fear imprinted on your brain. It's been around a long time, which is why you need to have grace with yourself, because this is not an overnight process. You didn't get to where you are today overnight, and you're not going to fix it overnight. You need to be just patient with yourself, because you're doing this and you're going to mess up. But the point is, you're taking action and you're working. Because we want our subconscious to be just as positive. So when we're reverting back to old habits, our old habit is positive too, instead of that negative one. So one of the things, students come in all the time. So I get a lot on academic probation. Our students who have been out of school for years and years, and they're coming back. And one of the first things they say is, just give me some strategies. Like, how do I pass tests? How am I a good student? Just give me some strategies so I can get through it. And I'm like, I'm a teacher. I've got strategies for days. Like, I can give you all the acronyms, all the things, but I tell them, that's not what matters, because if I give you a bunch of strategies and you have the same negative mindset that got you here, you will revert to your old patterns and you will be in the same boat you were in when you walked into my class. But if we change your mindset, nothing will stop you. Strategy or not, it doesn't matter. You won't quit until you reach your goal. And that is powerful for them, because again, they realize they are in control and they get to make that choice. Okay, I actually have transformation to pass around for everyone to use. Well, Danette is fantastic, and hers all have labels. Mine have washi tape, and then I wrote down what it was. So this is transformation. You guys roll it on, use it, smell it. So fantastic. So again, I feel like some of you probably came tonight thinking she's going to give us like 3 tips for success or 3 tips to hit silver, something like that, and I'm not. Sorry. But it's because if you change your mindset, again, you will figure these things out. You will find the people to work with and to learn and grow with. And nothing can stop you at that point. So Young Living does an incredible job. Not only are they creating seed to seal products that are pure and amazing and effective, but guys, they're giving us incredible descriptions. So if you are trying to figure out, well, which oil do I get and what do I need? Look online. This is from the reference guide, the little blue pocket reference guide you guys can get from LSP. But all of this is also in the catalog. Like, they've already told you what it's about, what oils are in it. So I just want to read this really quick. It said, memories are imprinted in our cells for better or worse. Stored negative emotions need to be replaced with joy, hope, and courage. Transformation Blend radiates with the purifying oils of lemon and peppermint, along with the revitalizing power of sesquiterpenes from sandalwood and frankincense. Idaho Blue Spruce anchors new mental programming. How many of you got Idaho Blue Spruce this month on your ER order? And then ordered it again for your husband? On the grounding, yes. If you're not on Essential Rewards, Idaho Blue Spruce and grounding is reason enough to do it this month. So fantastic. Look at that. It anchors memory, so it's weighing down the positive programming that you want to set in place. This is fantastic to do self-talk in the morning. Make a roller, put it on, breathe it in, and say it over and over. And then it gets to the point you're smelling it, and you're having that response without even thinking about it. Reaching into the deepest recesses of memory, transformation empowers and upholds the changes you want to make in your belief system. Positive, uplifting beliefs are foundational for the transformation of behavior. Okay? So powerful. Who wants to take a guess? What do you think the best oil for mindset is? Frankincense, lemon, valor. Nice. You guys all have good answers. I have all of these in my bag. No, it is the oil you have. Use what you have. Guys, we spend so much time in our life waiting for things to be perfect. If you do not have transformation, I highly recommend this oil. You're going to smell it and be like, yep, adding that this month. It's good. But if you don't have it yet, do not wait to start changing your self-talk and your mental programs until you get it. Grab what you have and use it and add this on after. I see so many people like, yeah, well, as soon as I get that, I'm going to start. I see students do this. You know, next semester, that's my time. Like, I'm ready for it. And like, no, you don't start now. Okay? So use what you have and keep adding to your list. And then I'll So this is a short list of oils I love to use. Greg was like, you're now out of room, so stop adding them on there. I definitely, in the last couple years, have used oils for emotional and mental support more than anything else. And I have so many that are with me. I told Danette my bag is super heavy because, guys, I have everything. All full size because I leave the house. I'm like, well, who knows? You might need 15 milliliters of Believe. I don't know. Like, leaving the house for a few hours, you don't know what's going to happen. You might need this. So it's just all with me. Greg's always lugging it. Like, why? Again, scent is so incredibly powerful. Think about memory. Who has a memory you want to share? When you smell something, give me a scent and then tell me what memory you have attached to it. Yes, ma'am. Gardenia, what do you think of? Your grandmother. I love that. I have something for you. Okay, I have... where is it? Oh, no. I think it's this one. Okay. Here we go. Greg, will you take this to her? Okay, so this, I'm so glad you said something floral. That has rose and frankincense and valor. Because you got out of your comfort zone and answered. And there's no reward without risk. And so you were brave and you just did it. And I know it's scary to talk in grapes and be like, oh, I'm going to put this out there. But I appreciate that. We talk about that all the time in class, guys. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do scary things. See, now everyone else is empowered to answer because they think they're going to get a prize. But you just did it because you were like, yeah, I'm just going for it. Like, Gardenia, who else? Tell me something that you smell. Yes, ma'am. Inner child, what do you think of? Your parents? Good. Who else? I saw a hand back there. No? Over on this. Oh, this side's like everyone. Yes, ma'am. First time you went to the farm? Yes. Who else? Yes, ma'am. Yes, love that. It's like saying you're bored as a kid and your parents are like, oh, you're never going to be bored again. Like, I'm about to give you more chores than you know what to do with. Yes, ma'am. It does not. You're first. Okay. Brings you back to the hospital. Yes, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Jergens losing why? Of your grandma. Grandpa, excuse me. Grandpeepaw. Yes. I love that. So good. We'll do one more in the back. Yes. So good. I love that. Guys, scent is the most powerful of our senses. It bypasses everything else. It goes straight to the amygdala, which houses all of our emotions. And it has way more receptors than vision and hearing. It's why so many of you are probably already thinking through when you smell something. You see a picture, like let's say you see a picture of camp, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember going there. But if you smell the woods, you smell the chlorine of the pool, you smell like the BO of the cabin, like you are transported back. You're like, yes, I can see myself there. Greg's grandmother grew beautiful, like prize-winning roses. And same thing, you see pictures and you're kind of like, oh yeah, but you smell it and he's like, I'm transported back to Missouri and childhood and playing at their house. It is so powerful, which is why when you merge your self-talk and your oils, you get an even stronger response. So what we're going to, I left that part out about self-talk. I just realized that. So we're going to go back just a little bit. And I want you guys to write a self-talk statement. We're going to do like minute, 2 minutes. Remember, it is in the present. It is about you, and you are directing your brain. It is very clear and very specific. So I told you the 4 I say every day. What is it that you want to start tonight? Telling yourself, and then you're going to do it again in the morning. And write it down. 5 mil, and I always have a roller. And probably most of the rollers I make myself have Valor too. So the Valor story, I don't know if I've shared this outside of maybe April's house. But so 4 years ago, when we had our second miscarriage, I'd had my second emergency surgery, second traumatic event, and Greg was driving me home from the hospital, and I lost it. Like, I was in the back seat, and I was just like, pull over, I have to get out, I'm dying. Like, I thought I was having a heart attack, and I was sitting there, and I was thinking, I have survived all of this to die in the back seat of the car, like, after everything that's happened. And I was just losing it. So Greg whips in off 75 to the McDonald's parking lot. And I get on the ground, like the germaphobe in me is just thinking back like, oh my word, like so bad. And I am on the ground, and all I can say is Valor. Like, that's it. And if you guys were around with Young Living 4 years ago, you remember Valor was out of stock. It was like Valorgeddon. And we didn't use our bottle like we smelled it. We'd open and be like, take your sniff. Like, you can't diffuse it or put it on. And so I'm just like on the ground at McDonald's going, Valor, 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 Valor. And I couldn't say anything else. Greg is digging around. He gets it. And I mean, he rips the lid off, and there was no rationing. He is dumping it on my head, on my chest. People at McDonald's that day got dinner and a show. Like, people are looking out their windows like, what is happening in this parking lot? And Greg is just like lathering me, and I am just laying there. And I remember I just kept going, I can do this. I can do this. And deep down, guys, I really didn't know that I could. There was part of me that was like, you're going to die in the McDonald's parking lot. And it was all the air they had inflated me with for surgery. It didn't come out. And I ended up having a, like, first ever horrible panic attack. And I just kept saying, I can do this, I can do this. You know, I am strong. And I really, like I said, I didn't really believe it. But I was like, I have to keep saying this. I did over and over and over. He drove me back to the hospital. We pull into the ER, and I was like, no. Like, I can do this. And part of that was because, like, we checked out. I wasn't paying for round 2. I was like, we're done with this. I was like, you just take this home. Greg's like, I don't care. I was like, no, give me that Valor. We're going. So we go back home, and like I said, to this day, this is always, always with me. And I do not even have to say that anymore. The minute I put it on and smell it, my brain goes, you can do this. You can do hard things. You've got it. And that is because for the last 4 years, I have intentionally imprinted that on my brain. So that's why it is so powerful, guys, to mix your oils and your self-talk and to give yourself that experience. So it is programming it on that subconscious level. Now that I've said all that, we're going to go back to our oils, and you guys are going to get to do this. So I want you to look at your self-talk statement. Like I said, it's only weird the first time. Once you do this, you're going to be good. And I want everyone to get an oil out. Doesn't matter if transformation's going around in that bottle, roll it on and use that. Are you fancy? It's like, you can, oh, thank you. Oh. Okay, so I want you to roll it on, your wrist, your hand, wherever. I want you to breathe it in deeply. And on the count of 3, we're all going to say our self-talk statement. They're all going to be different. It's only going to be weird for a second, and then we're going to be good. Everybody ready? Get your oil. 1, 2, 3. I am awesome. Perfect. Yes. Guys, this is so good. You just created a new neural pathway. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. So, I told you guys this is all about action. Go home tonight and do it again. Do it before bed. Do it first thing in the morning. Get up, say your affirmation, pair it with your oil. Until you are getting to the point that you smell it and you're like, yes, this is it. Intention is the driving force of creation. You guys just did this. You created something new because you intentionally paired an oil with self-talk. This is what we need to be doing every day. Intentionally pairing our words with our actions. Your achievement will be determined by the amount of focus you apply to the goal. Reaching goals is based on neurons, so success is neurological. The truth lives in the daily habits of people who choose to achieve their best. It empowers their most creative and inspired dreams, and it moves them upward in the direction of their greatest opportunities. Habits will make or break you. What you do every day matters so much more than what you do every once in a while. Think about athletes. When do they train for the game? Daily, before. They don't show up, I know Jeanette loves tennis. They don't show up for the tennis match and they're like, I'm going to try this new move. Like, maybe it works. Exactly. You don't see it together. They like get on the football field and like, maybe we should run a play and like see what happens. No, they practice before the game. Think of musicians before the concert, artists before the event. Look at soldiers. They train before the war. They get their mind and their body prepared so they know whatever comes, I can handle it. Guys, make no mistake. You are in a battle. Every morning when you wake up, your eyes open and your feet hit the ground, you are in a battle. Your mind for positive and negative, good and evil, and you get to choose. And it is important what you choose. It is important what your children choose. And they need to know that they are in a battle and they can train their brain. You can tell it what to do and you can be ready for anything that happens. Do not wait until things get rough to figure it out. Same thing with practicing gratitude. You don't wait until it's terrible to try and start a new habit. You practice it before. All of your self-talk is being recorded by your brain, positive and negative. It doesn't care. Everything. It is like, the NSA on steroids. Like, it is recording absolutely everything. Like, your self-talk is the primary source of the new programs you wire into place. That's it. Your self-talk. And negative self-talk and the way it wires the brain in a negative way creates the difference between people who find success and happiness in life and people who do not. That is it. We like to make things really complex. We feel like for it to be effective, it has to be complex. It's one of the reasons working with kids is great. They don't do that, but adults do. This is so simple, but it's not easy. And I know that. It is a lot of work. But we like to think there's all these factors that go into happiness and success and being different, and that's what it boils down to is your self-talk. When you change your self-talk, you change your life. And again, I know it seems simple, but I think most things in life that are worth doing are simple but not easy. We know we need to be eating healthy. We know that. But life happens and the drive-thru is a lot easier. Same thing with working on our dreams. It's simple. You take action every day. But life happens and we take the easy route. This is exactly the same. These are simple principles. When you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, you can't really tell me that my life will change if I fix my self-talk. Yes, it will. And here's why. Watch your thoughts for they become words. Watch your words for they become actions. Watch your actions for they become habits. Watch your habits for they become character. And watch your character for it becomes your destiny. The sum of your life, guys. What you do here on earth. It all starts where? Your thoughts. Up here. Everything. When you think about getting to the end and looking back, you want to create a life that matters, that the world was different because you were here, that you left it better than you found it. You don't get a do-over. Start making those changes today. Small steps. We do this in class. Small steps. You're not going to change it overnight. Pick one little thing and start doing it. So we're going to transition in a little bit to creator versus victim. Is everybody good? See a couple phones. You good? Okay. So creator versus victim. And I will tell you, this is one of, so my students at the end of the semester, they obviously take an evaluation. They evaluate me and the class. But then I have them write a letter to next semester's student. And so they share all the things they've learned. So here's what you can expect from class. This is what I wish I'd known my first semester. You know, like, this is how intense she is. Don't get scared off the first day. Like, all these things. And I'll tell you, I'm more intense in class. I'm a little like, whew, and I also have probably about 2.5 milliliters of Valor on. So I'm just very like, I'm good. But they get this opportunity to share, and this is consistently in their top 3. Creator versus victim. Something happens. There is a stimulus. You always, always, always have a choice in how you what? React, respond. Yes, your attitude, how you think about it. Are you going to respond as a victim or as a creator? You get a choice every time. And here's some, not an exhaustive list, but they put this together. So look at the victim side. It's all negative. Blaming, negative mindset, complaining, making excuses, repeating negative behavior, critical self-talk. They allow fear to control them. What's the key word there? Allow, because you have a choice. There you go. You want to switch over to the creator because, look, they seldom achieve their goals. And they are also pretty miserable people. We are going to switch to creator. Creative solutions. They take action. They try new things. They take risks. They get out of their comfort zone. They're consistent, focused, and they take personal responsibility for everything that happens. Your victim has a problem for every solution. Okay? This is what we work all semester. So I'm telling you guys, we are scratching the surface today because we spend 16 weeks hammering this hard. And here's a lot of why. This mindset right here has become socially acceptable. And it has to change. And it starts with us. It's not starting with telling other people how they need to do it because they're wrong. It starts with us. You inspire and empower other people when you step into your story and you own it and you walk a new path. Not by preaching at people what to do. Probably similar to what I'm doing right now. But I've done all this. Okay? So, this is so acceptable. Blaming. Blame is described as a way to discharge pain and discomfort. We don't like when things hurt, so we want to find someone or something else who can be responsible for it. Making excuses, good grief. If you want to hear some very creative ones, come teach. I have gotten some doozies where I'm like, you could have picked one excuse. 5 was overkill. Like, you didn't have to list all, like, what are you going to use next time? You should have just stuck with one. All right? Excuses, the critical self-talk, and the fear, and we have accepted it so much that we just agree with it. Someone blames, like, you're right, they did do that. Making excuses, oh, I know, you're so busy, me too, I get it. And we've accepted it, and that has to change. So I told you guys I have dual credit. And this is just, I had another story I was going to share with this, and then yesterday this happened, and I was like, oh my word, I have to share it. So I had a girl come up to me afterwards. She's all like, they're still a little bit shy. And she's like, Professor Haynes, can I talk to you? And I was like, of course, what's going on? And she said, well, my dad hates his job. I said, okay. And she said, and so I've been going home every day, and I've been sharing everything you teach in class with him. Is that okay? I'm like, okay, it is encouraged. I was like, share away, sister, because that is the ripple effect, guys. You are changing lives. She is 16 years old. You don't have to be an expert at this. She's been in it 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We've had 4 dimes together. And she goes, yeah, I just had to tell you because we've been watching the Les Brown videos. Les Brown fans? There you go. All right. I was going to say, if not, go home. That's your first assignment. You guys are just lucky I didn't have like a test or a paper because I'm like ready for it. So go home and watch Les Brown. And she said, we've been doing things together every day. And she said, it's different. And I just wanted you to know that. She said, he comes home now and like we do things as a family. 16 years old, and she's teaching him that. And as an adult and a parent, I think that's pretty powerful that he's willing to change. So if you're feeling like, yeah, I'm an old dog, no new tricks here, yes, you can. Change your mindset. Speed it up. Okay. I got it. Okay, so this is kind of to sum up those two. Control your thoughts. Remember, you become what you think about most of the time. Be sure you are thinking and talking about the things you want rather than the things you don't want. Quit focusing on what you don't want. I hope I don't get stuck in traffic. I hope I don't get sick. I hope this doesn't happen. Focus on what you want. Keep your mind positive by accepting complete responsibility for yourself and for everything that happens to you. Refuse to criticize others, complain, and blame others for anything. Resolve to make progress rather than excuses. Keep your thoughts and your energy focused forward on what you can do right now to improve your life and let the rest go. I had a kid who made excuses at the beginning of the semester. By the end, he came up and he said, I just wanted to talk to you. He said, I didn't turn in that final assignment, and I wanted you to know why. He goes, I know you don't accept late work, but it was really important to me that you understood. I had a job interview for what I've been working really hard for, and so I made the conscious choice to do that instead of your assignment, but I wanted you to understand why. And I said, so you took personal responsibility for your actions. You made a choice that was in line with your values, and you're at peace with it, and you didn't make excuses. Like, spread your wings, baby, and fly, because you got it. That's it. That is what the shift we want from victim to creator. And the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. It's from Rollo May. This one hits me hard every time. Okay? Don't conform to the world. Most people aren't happy anyways. I don't know why we're trying to be like unhappy people. Like this whole keeping up with the Joneses and status quo. Why? It's not, there's more out there and it's better. We took things like I can't even and the struggle and things that were like, people said it a few times, and we've imprinted it into a way of life. Guys, you can, because you are strong enough. We talk all the time about how hard things are. We don't spend enough time talking about how tough you are. You were made to overcome. You were created for greatness, and you are created to do hard things. So thank you. Have courage to step outside and do it. So this is what we did. I am super, super proud. I have the absolute honor of learning and loving and growing with our Have Oils Will Travel team. And we came up with this. Courage and Comfort Zone has been a really big deal for us probably the last year. And so we came up with this. In our community, we choose courage over comfort zone, certainty, complacency, and comparison. And we started at the beginning of this month doing a comfort zone challenge. And this is something I've had on my heart for a while. I do it with my students. And guys, it is fantastic. It is so meaningful. It is purpose-driven. And we are having fun. The best thing is every day people start talking about how they get out of their comfort zone. Someone got a new job and she goes, I'm an introvert and I talk to one new person every day. I stick my hand out, I introduce myself, and I'm terrified, but I love it. It is so awesome to watch people step out of their comfort zone and get closer to walking in their purpose. And look at the language. Again, you guys can read this later, but you have the power to choose all these things. All right? Things like calm over stress, productivity over busyness, all of it. Choosing a positive mindset instead of negativity is one of the most empowering, brave, and defining actions we can take. And then I'll let you guys read this later too. But I do want to say courage doesn't happen when you're ready. It happens when you make the choice to do it scared. We have this on our team. We say do it scared all the time. And we have had people go live. We have had people host events. We have had people do all kinds of things. And they're like, I just did it scared. I was so nervous, I didn't think anything made sense, but I did it anyways. You are never going to be 100% ready. Jump and build your wings on the way down. You have to take a risk. It's true, guys. Some of the best opportunities that have happened to me, I was not ready for at all. And I figured it out. You were made for this. All of it. The risks, uncertainty, failure, discomfort. Choose courage. You guys are warriors. You were made for this. All you need to do is one step and start today. It makes me think of someone I asked Annette about this, so I'll tell you when I got out of my comfort zone. So this was probably 2 years ago. And I had been thinking, like, I adore my job. Like, Colin is everything I've wanted a million times over. And I was like, I want to bring this to other people because this is so perfect for Oilers, and more people need to hear this. And so I was like, I'm going to talk to her tonight. And she's so cute. I remember she had her little cowboy boots and her dress, and I was so nervous. And we were in the bathroom, and ladies, you know that bathroom is always full. There is no one in there but me and Danette. And I was like, it is now or never, Amanda. Like, you just have to go for it. So I asked her, I'm like, how do you find speakers? It's just like this. I just talked to them. They come up to me random times in the bathroom. I was like, I have found my people. Like, yes. It's just like, this is it. I love it. I'll get in touch with you. Guys, she supported and believed in me when she had no reason to. And that means the world. I told Greg in the car, I'm not going to cry, but I told him in the car, I said, I want to be the kind of leader Danette is because she gives people opportunities before they're ready. She believes in them and she supports them, and I love you. Yeah, because that's you. And I'm going to end with this slide for the first part. This is what I do the last day of class. I cry every time because I'm releasing my babies into the wild. And this is the last thing. But your life has purpose. Your story is important. Your dreams count. Your voice matters. You were born to make an impact. Guys, your purpose is worth it. Choose courage. Get uncomfortable. Share your story. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the next part, but I am a huge believer in the power of storytelling. Share it and get other people involved. There is so much that happens when you do that. Thank you guys so much for having me tonight. I appreciate it. I think that's it. Really fast, sorry. Okay, so just in case people leave, because I was going to do this before you do oh my gosh, giveaways, yes. So really fast, I found this, and how perfect. There are no coincidences. So Ginger is free this month, and this is what I found 2 days ago. Ginger is the oil of empowerment. Ginger holds no reservations. It has a purpose, and it will fulfill it. Ginger powerfully persuades individuals to be fully present and participate in life. It teaches that to be successful in life, you must be fully committed to it. Ginger addresses deep patterns of victim mentality. A victim mentality is evidenced by feelings of powerlessness, believing everything is outside of one's control, refusing to take personal responsibility for life, or blaming life circumstances on other people or outside influences. The victim feels stuck as they decentralize or disown responsibility and blame others for their misfortunes. Ginger empowers individuals in taking complete responsibility for their life circumstances. It infuses a warrior-like mentality based on personal integrity, centralized responsibility, and individual choice. Here, the individual sees themselves as the creator of their own life. No longer waiting for outside circumstances to change, they choose their own destiny. The empowered individual assumes full responsibility and accountability for the consequences of their actions or inactions. And when I looked up what oils have ginger, abundance, fueled by Ula, live with passion, and magnify your purpose. Yeah, I mean, hello. It's like it was written for tonight. So get your ER orders in so you can all have ginger.
Okay, we're going to change gears just for a moment here. Did you guys love that? That was amazing. That was amazing. Oh, my heavens. So, can you all see that? Is that blurry? Free things that Young Living gives us every, isn't that great? And ginger is one of them, right? So, as you can maybe see on that, I'm going to have to read that. It's 100 PV, right? If you are on Essential Rewards, which everybody should be, because if you brush your teeth, wash your hair, clean your home, pet your animals, any of those things, deodorant, I'm just saying, everybody in this room should do all of those things. You should be on Essential Rewards because that is the best way to maximize your Young Living membership, and you get points for free products that you get to choose. Plus, you get free things like ginger oil this month, and you just all heard why you want that, right? And why I already have 4 or something. I'm not sure. So that the 190 level, if you're on Essential Rewards, you're also going to get KidSense Sniffle Ease, right? So if you love RC, you're going to super love Sniffle Ease because it's RC plus a few oils that are delicious for this time of year and immune systems. Bloody tongue. Inner Defense is also what you get at the 190 level because we're coming into winter and we need some extra support. And then at 250, a 5 ml bottle of Raven. So, right, all the great breathing things that we love to diffuse in our cute Feather the Owl diffusers, as well as slather all over us. So, delicious, actually. Do I look scary now? And multi-greens at the 300 PV level. And if you do not get all the greens that you should get, how many people say probably they don't eat enough greens? Yeah, that is why you need multi-greens. And I promise you, if you do 30 days of 3 multi-greens a day, you come back to tell me how you feel, right? So much better. Who's done that? Like taken that challenge, right? It is life-changing. So do that. I do take multi-greens every day. I actually do. But you can say that as a positive affirmation / self-talk and actually make that happen in your life. You know what I'm saying? Young Living's going to give it to you for free. So we love that. So I would like to sing happy birthday to Cindy Haggerton. Actually, I don't want to be the only one singing. I would like all of us to sing happy birthday. Cindy, come on up here. Does anyone else have a birthday today? Is it just Cindy who was born on this day? What? Come here, Nancy, both of y'all. Because I need to introduce you to these two people. Dun, dun, dun. Nancy. Oh, my glasses on. Where's Nancy? I know it's not. No, it's not that. Nancy. Yeah? She's gone? All right. So happy birthday to Nancy and happy birthday to Cindy. Here she is. So Cindy Haggerton. So proud of you. Lovely Crown Diamond leader and above Royal Crown Diamond because it is what it is. And so let's just sing a quick happy birthday because you're spending your birthday with us. Like, that's super special to me. All right, so 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cindy. Woo! Happy birthday to you.
That's your older husband. That was her great husband, Jim Bob, preaching back there, happy his wife was born. All right, so I want you to know that the Good Year for Health upcoming classes Facebook page will remain up because that is where we keep you abreast of things that are going on locally or online. So we're happy to keep that up there. And anybody have any quick questions before we bring Amanda back up? Excellent. I'm not going to give you that long to think about it. So I'd like to bring Amanda back up because she is going to crank it. Do you need water? Can I get you something? Okay. All right. So because she's going to knock this out of the park yet again. So we are not going to be flying without a plan because she's going to give us a plan, not a 1, 2, 3, but how to actually help us achieve our goals, right? Like literally changing our DNA. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you guys very much. Here she is.